The Raiders win it! Patrick Mahomes, the magic show, is here in Oakland. And Mahomes deep. He wants McCall Hardman. Touchdown! Kelsey near side, over the shoulder. Touchdown! Oh, that's a hell of a catch! Nelson Aguilar. As Derek Carr brings the Raiders right back into the thick of things.
They can't stop us. They can't stop us now. We got to keep going.
And at 33-24, Mahomes throws only his second career interception against the Raiders. Jackpot, baby! What a performance by the Raiders.
All right, the Raiders are looking to sweep the Chiefs, and here's how the AFC West looks heading into Sunday. The Raiders are a perfect 3-0 against division opponents this season, but the Chiefs remain at the top of the division. So let's bring in Jeff Chudia, Michael Robinson, and D'Angelo Hall to break down the Chiefs side of things. Now, Jeff, in their first meeting, the Raiders put up 40 points on KC. Can the Chiefs slow them down this time?
Well, it's a great question, MJ, and I'm not certain they can do it because that 40 points was legit. They came in with a serious game plan, with serious talent, and they got serious results. You look at the Raiders this year, in seasons past, they had Derek Carr struggling, not having the weapons around him. Now he's got Henry Ruggs going deep. He's got Nelson Aguilar going deep. He's got a Pro Bowl tight end in Darren Waller and a Pro Bowl running back in Josh Jacobs. And they were really able to get into the Chiefs' weaknesses, which are the cornerback play and the linebacker play. Those guys aren't great in coverage, and they expose that. But the Chiefs are saying the right things. In fact, after that game, Tyrann Mathieu, their safety, said, look, he's never been more motivated than right now. So he wants to get back at this team, wants a second shot at this. And I'm sure D'Angelo Hall, being the resident DB, can talk about this as well.
Oh, yeah, Jeff, when you talk about that Raiders game plan, man, they utilized that speed. And I knew Henry Ruggs was going to be a great pickup for the Raiders offense because I know those guys play Tyreek Hill twice a year. So John Gruden knew he needed a speed guy. Let me show y'all a little bit of video on this XO of how Henry Ruggs just distracts people. So right now you got Henry Ruggs. He's going to motion across. You see Darren Waller and you see Nelson Aguilar. My corner right here, Travarius Ward, he has to stay deep. You got Juan Thornhill. He's going to cut Darren Waller. If Travarius Ward, if he stays deep and just sprints from start to finish, he makes that play. Tyrann Mathieu cannot cover anybody from one side of the field to the other side. That's just miscommunication. Right here, you got Henry Ruggs again, a speed guy. Daniel Sorensen leads the team in tackles. He's running up there trying to make a tackle. They don't need you to make a tackle, Daniel. They need you in the post. And as you see, Henry Ruggs, that speed threat that John Gruden coveted in the draft, making play after play. So this Kansas City secondary can't blow coverages, especially when it's laid out for you right there.
D-Hall, they cannot blow coverages, and they can't let Josh Jacobs just go ham on them. I mean, he rushed for a couple touchdowns the last time that this team played. He rushed for over 100 yards last week against the Denver Broncos team who had stacked the box to try to stop him. I mean, this kid is electric. I mean, and then you look at the Kansas City Chiefs run defense. They give up almost 140 rush yards a game, and I think the reason why they give up that much, obviously teams are trying to keep the ball away from Patrick Mahomes. You look at this first matchup, the Las Vegas Raiders, they kept the ball for 10 minutes more than the Kansas City Chiefs. Again, limiting the possessions. You just have to know the type of team you're playing. You're playing the Kansas City Chiefs, and they're explosive. So I think sometimes the defense gets exposed because you can't be good everywhere. You got an explosive offense. You know, you got a bend but don't break defense. And I think in the running game, Jeff, is where they give up a lot more plays than they would like to.
That's right, and Rob, and really, when you think about the way that first game went, the Raiders actually did the Chiefs on the Chiefs. They put more pressure on them with that offense and really forced them to play from behind. They only had 8 points in the second half of that game because they felt that pressure, not having enough possessions, knowing the other team on the other side was going to be putting points on the board. And I got to ask you guys, like, can they do that again? Can the Raiders control the Chiefs in the second half of the game the way they did last time?
You know what, Jeff? That's what's so dangerous about. No, go ahead, Rob.
Man. This delay crazy, man. Well, I really think with Josh Jacobs, with the speed on the outside that you guys just outlined, right? I mean, Henry Ruggs, has real speed. These are things that you can't just go out there and teach. This is real speed, and you can't always simulate it in practice. Yes, you got Tyreek Hill and things like that, but you can't always simulate it always at practice. And again, you have to be able to stop something. And without stopping that run game, I'm telling you, I really think the Las Vegas Raiders, they can find some plays in the back end.
You know what? The Chiefs had a lot of mistakes. They had a lot of penalties. I can remember a deep ball to Tyreek Hill early in that ball game that would have probably blown the doors off in that game. At one point, this game could have been a blowout in the Chiefs' favor. So, you know, the Chiefs' offense is just so dynamic. Any one of those guys can win those matchups. And we can't forget Le'Veon Bell's a part of their team now this time around. So the Chiefs got a lot of weapons. I don't know how the Raiders' defense can do what they did last time, which was, you know, shut down this explosive offense.
It's only one ball. It's only one football, dude.
All right, guys, it's been, 6 weeks since these two teams faced off. Here's what I love about these type of rivalries. Neither of them is going to forget what it takes to bring the other one down. All right, yeah. Jeff, Rob, and D-Hall, thank you.
Interesting game in a lot of different ways. On 3rd and 3. Wentz has it tipped away from Rager by James Bradbury. Wentz stumbles out of his break, and Wentz is down. Wentz, pressure coming, and Wentz is going to be sacked. He's under pressure. He's going to get sacked. What happened there? First of all, a low snap. Steps up. He's under pressure, gets sacked. That will wrap things up for today. Eagles have some question marks, but in the end, it's a loss.
Question marks and L's. Yeah, the NFC East is the first division since 1970 in which all teams have 3 or fewer wins through Week 10. Here's a look at the standings. I mean, the Eagles still in first position, but truly, there's just a lot to unpack there. And the headline in Philly, courtesy of the Philadelphia Inquirer, reads, "Coddling Carson. Peterson needs to hold QB accountable." James Jones and Maurice Jones-Drew join me now for this one. Guys, the NFC East is a disaster, no doubt. There's legitimate concern in Philly about the team. And our Mike Silver reporting that shaking up the head coach or even the QB is not totally out of the question. That said, if the Eagles were to move on from Wentz, it would cost them $59 million. So all of this considered, James, what's wrong with the Eagles?
Everything is wrong with the Eagles. The Eagles have a lot of problems, man. I mean, let's start with the offensive side of the ball. I mean, Carson Wentz, yes, you got to hold him accountable, but he is out there with people that he wasn't expecting to play with the start of the season, man. And this offense is beat up from the offensive line to the receivers. This offense is beat up. So it's tough. You watch them play football games. It's tough for them to try to put some plays together to go down there and score some points. I don't see this offense being able to score more than 10 points a game against any defense. They are struggling. They do not have the weapons out there. And you could say play call and you could say Carson Wentz. They just do not have the talent to compete. And that's where the Eagles are right now, Drew.
This is my problem, JJ. You give this man $100 million, and we make excuses for him. We always do this for the quarterback. I'm going to tell you, when I got paid in Jacksonville, I needed to rush for 1,000 yards or more. The time I didn't do it, they let me hit free agency. That's what happened. So you have to hold them accountable. I don't care that you don't have receivers out there, your O-line's baked up. We gave you $130 million to win ball games. That's why we gave you the money, because we felt like when things don't happen, you need to be deodorant. You got to be able to cover up some of our stink. And the problem is Carson Wentz is the one that's stinking it up. He's trying to force the ball in the coverage. He doesn't get the ball out quickly. He's always trying to make a play, losing the ball in the pocket, getting strip sacked, turn the ball over late. Holding him accountable is the first thing you have to do if you're an Eagles organization. It has nothing to do with the coaching. If I call a play and a guy is open and you don't throw it to him, you scramble around and you fumble the ball, that's on the quarterback. I'm tired of as a national media, I'm tired of everyone in the National Football League coddling these quarterbacks. Don't pay them that money then. Pay them what they're deserved, not the $100 million, and then I'll say, okay, he doesn't have enough weapons. Okay, we need to run the ball a little bit more. Okay, we need to have a better offensive line.
All right, he said what he said. And as we saw, the Eagles sit atop of the division. But let's get into their remaining schedule, guys. Not ideal. 3-5-1 as it currently stands. Let's start here with Week 11, MJD, against the Browns.
Listen, the Browns are going to win. They're running the ball well. Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt.
JJ, week 12 against
Listen,
the Seahawks.
I know people want us to talk on TV and try to give the Eagles some hope or, hey, break these games down. But I'm looking at this schedule, man, and I'm just saying L. And it looks like it's going to be L all the way down. But you could go next, Drew.
Green Bay, L. No question.
All right.
New Orleans, L. And
without Drew Brees?
L.
Double down on that one.
Well, here goes an L to the Arizona Cardinals. We just saw what they did last week.
What about this one, though?
I mean, this one is tough. So I'm gonna talk about this one for a little bit right here. This one is tough because this right here is two bad teams playing against each other. And at this point of the season, you never know. This game might be for the division title. It possibly could be. So they might have some mojo or something going in this game. But I just feel like the Dallas Cowboys will finish the season better than the Eagles will. And I'm giving the Dallas Cowboys this game. They're going to take another L right here, Drew.
Oh, final one.
JJ, that's so disrespectful. I'm gonna say they win. I would say they win the last two games. I just feel like, the Washington football team, they're still trying to figure things out. Yes, they played well against the Detroit Lions, but they're also banged up as well offensively. Hopefully, Carson Wentz and them can make it work.
Drew,
Okay.
am I the only one who watched the Giants game last week? Because you giving them Cowboys in Washington like they just that team.
That's
Did
a
you
whole
watch the
other
game?
discussion, JJ. That's a whole other chat. Right now, you're giving the Eagles a final record on the year, 4-11-1. JJ and MDD, not that far-fetched, guys. Thank you. All right, in case you missed it, we had Vikings at Bear Monday Night Football action. Chicago looking to put an end to their 3-game skid. Now we go to the opening kickoff of the second half. Bears receiving here, trailing 7-6. Cordero Patterson returns the kickoff for how many? 104 yards for a touchdown. That's Patterson's 8th career kickoff return for a touchdown. He is tied for most in NFL history. Gave the Bears the lead there, 13-7. So we go to the fourth quarter. It's after Nagy's celebration there. Vikings ball. Game tied at 13. 3rd and 4. Kirk Cousins hits Adam Thielen for the touchdown. Vikings take the lead there, 19-13. Later in the fourth, Bears ball, same score. 1st and 10. Nick Foles under pressure here. Tries to get rid of it as he's pulled to the ground. Listen, Foles lands hard on that one. They have to bring the medical cart out to get him off the field. So now their starting QB is out the rest of the game, and the Bears drop their 4th straight, 19-13. The final score there. Let's get you caught up on the latest headlines. Tom Pelissero with us now, and it sounds like Nick Foles' injury that we just saw might not be as bad as originally thought, Tom.
Well, MJ, Nick Foles has a deep bruise in the glute area as well as a hip pointer from that big hit that he took last night against the Vikings. Bears are headed into a bye here. It's still too soon to say whether Foles potentially could be ready in 2 weeks for a big game against the Packers. But remember, the Bears' other quarterback, Mitch Trubisky, also has his status up in the air because of a shoulder injury. A lot of quarterback questions for a Bears team that's been going in the wrong direction. Staying in the NFC North, Lions quarterback Matthew Stafford, I'm told, has a partial tear in a ligament on the thumb on his throwing hand. Now, Stafford is as tough as anybody. They will evaluate him this week in practice, see how well he's able to throw the ball, but this guy has played through a lot. The expectation is Stafford will start on Sunday against the Panthers. Carolina's quarterback also banged up, but I am told the expectation is Teddy Bridgewater will practice on a limited basis on Wednesday. He has an MCL sprain in his knee. It is considered to be relatively minor, and Coach Matt Rule has expressed optimism that Bridgewater will be ready to go. Meanwhile, Broncos quarterback Drew Lock, I'm told, had x-rays on his ribs that came back negative, but he's got some bad muscle strains and bad bruising. I'm told that he is at this point considered to be week to week. Nobody has ruled him out for Sunday against the Dolphins, but it is going to be an uphill battle, MJ, for Lock to be ready.
All right, Tom, let's look ahead to the finale of Week 11. History will be made Monday night during the Rams-Bucks game. Tell us more, Tom.
That's right, MJ. The first all-black officiating crew in NFL history will take the field on Monday night. This is a crew that is led by referee Jerome Boger, who is the 3rd black referee in NFL history. And on a normal basis, every other week, 5 members of that crew are black. They will be joined this week by 2 additional members for what constitutes as a historic event very close to the 100th anniversary of the NFL. And what a way for the league to celebrate, MJ.
Love to see it, Tom. Thank you. Coming up next, it seems almost unfair
Oh, my goodness.
that a play this good
Kyler Murray threw up a prayer.
can't be a mic drop moment.
And D-Hop brought it down.
But in the NFL, you're not only as good as your last game, you're only as good as your next one. After the break, Kyler versus Russell. Who's got the edge? From the first game of the week to the game of the week, the champs and the challengers, why the Chiefs have a problem. Plus, no disrespect to a couple of NFL teams and total respect to a couple NFL legends. Hannah Storm, Andrew Kramer, still to come on NFL Total Access.
4-point lead for Buffalo, 11 seconds to play. Shotgun. Murray out of the pocket. 7 seconds. 6 seconds. Murray heaves it downfield. It is. Oh, it's caught. It is caught. DeAndre Hopkins. Miraculous. It's Murray magic.
Let's take a look at some next-gen stats powered by AWS. So I want to give you all the numbers to further explain why this was so ridiculously awesome. So D-Hop caught the go-ahead 43-yard touchdown pass from Murray with 2 seconds remaining on the clock. Hopkins was covered by 3 defenders in the end zone, and there was only a 16.9% chance that pass would be completed. Murray scrambled 30.2 yards before throwing the ball, which traveled 45 yards through the air. That was like a mini go figure. I love it. Okay. I have a couple of Super Bowl winners with me now. Coach Brian Billick, Michael Robinson here as well. Now, we've got a good one this Thursday night, gentlemen. Let's open up the playbook on Kyler Murray and Russell Wilson, Coach.
Yeah, I mean, clearly, Mike, Rob, you and I have been talking about this on the TA podcast. You're not going to contain these guys with a 4-man rush. It's got to be a 5 or 6-man, but there's some vulnerabilities to that as well. Let's look what I'm talking about on the field, because we've seen success on both sides of this. When you're going to start out with a 4-man rush here by the Rams. Now, Kaiser's going to step up, and he's going to muddle the protection on the inside, and to add to it, Donald's going to loop around. That muddles the inside from guard to guard. The key thing is that these defensive ends maintain contain. You can't let Russell Wilson get to the outside. They muddle the inside. They actually end up with a free rusher and end up with a sack on the outside. Now, Kyler Murray, same way. You've got to bring the 5th man and maintain contain. They jam to the trip side, so these guys aren't going anywhere, and you can see they do a good job. It's jammed on the inside. They've got contained. They've jammed the receivers at the top. There's no place to go, so Murray's just going to dump the ball at this point, and it's an incompletion. Now, there's a price to pay. You have to be assignment sound when you're going to bring a 5 or 6 man. Here you're going to see a 5-man, and he's very focused on the quarterback exchange with the running back. What he doesn't pay attention to is Swain is going to motion and come out the backside. It's just a 2-man route, so they're covered down the field. But Swain breaks contain. It wasn't the quarterback, but it was the receiver. And Russell Wilson, he's going to find this guy. So they do a good job down the field, but they get the ball to the outside. And with Kyler Murray, this is sudden death if you're not assignment sound, Michael. They got a 4-man front. They're going to bring the 5th guy on the inside, jam up in the inside, but watch the defensive end, Addison. He's focused on the run. He's not going to maintain contain. They've got it covered down the field, and Murray goes to the outside. So, this is not a one-stop shopping. You've got to be able to stay assignment sound, but you're not going to contain him with just a 4-man rush.
You can't contain these dynamic young quarterbacks with just a 4-man rush, Coach. You're absolutely right. And yes, we have been talking about it on the TA podcast because it's something that is going to become more prevalent as we get more of these movement type of guys from the college ranks. I mean, you can't just sit back and just let these Russell Wilsons and Kyler Murrays of the world just beat you. You got to force these guys to make plays every single play and make it as hard on them as possible. But, Coach, it gets tough to make it hard on them when they have guys like DK Metcalf. And that's a matchup I'm looking for. DK Metcalf against Patrick Peterson. DK Metcalf in the first matchup only had 23 yards, and Patrick Peterson had an interception. And then you look at last week when Jalen Ramsey went up against DK Metcalf again. DK Metcalf, again, only had 2 catches for 28 yards. So DK Metcalf is due for one of these big games. He's due to kind of get Russell Wilson out of this slump that he's been in over the last couple of weeks. I say it all the time. Franchise quarterbacks like Russell Wilson, like the Kyler Murrays, like the Josh Allens, like a lot of these young guys, they don't lose 2 and 3 games in a row that often. So I look at DK Metcalf to have a huge game, especially if he wants to be the difference maker that we're accustomed to seeing over the past last year and a half. He needs to step up in this game.
Yeah, on the flip side, what are they going to do with D. Hopkins? They don't have that matchup in the back end in Seattle. They're going to have to play combination zones. They don't like bringing 5 guys. I don't know what they're going to have to double. They're going to have to do something with D. Hopkins because one-on-one's just not going to work.
Listen, we're going to have a lot more on this matchup in just a bit. I could listen to you guys forever, by the way. That TA podcast, we definitely have to check it out. I was entranced, seriously, but we'll have more on this matchup in just a bit with Hannah Sorman and Andrea Kramer, who are calling, of course, the game on Prime Video. And in case you didn't take down the details before, Cardinals Seahawks Thursday Night Football at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Steve Smith Sr. sits down with DeAndre Hopkins. You can see it right here Thursday on NFL Game Day Kickoff. All right, it's a rare thing to see Patrick Mahomes outplayed, and yet that's exactly what happened in Week 5. Derek Carr walked into KC with a chip on his shoulder, walked out with his first ever win at Arrowhead. After the break, one man's rematch is another man's revenge. Have a say in this year's Pro Bowl votes presented by Verizon. The Pro Bowl may look different this year, but the best players will still be recognized. So show your love, cast your vote, and make sure your favorite players still earn their place on the 2021 Pro Bowl roster. Go ahead and vote today at NFL.com/Pro Bowl votes.
Derek Carr is trying to flip the script for Las Vegas. Carr whips it. End zone. Touchdown. A hot pass handled by Darren Waller. Downfield. Intercepted. His first of the season. Jeff Heath. Connection made with Aguilar. Touchdown Raiders. Carr airs it out. Separation. Pulled in. Henry Ruggs. Touchdown.
First win ever at Arrowhead Stadium. You better believe it, baby.
Let's rewind and take a look at how the 2 starting QBs compared when they faced off in Week 5. Derek Carr had more pass yards and more yards per attempt and the higher passer rating en route to a Raiders victory, 40-32. Hello, Omar Ruiz, who will be in Vegas for game day. James Jones and Maurice Jones-Drew here for this one as well. Now, the Raiders pulled up the upset in their matchup last time, Omar. This team's confidence definitely growing, yeah?
MJ, that confidence is exactly something I asked John Gruden about yesterday, and he told me that he does get a sense that every single week, win by win by win, that team is growing with confidence. He credited leaders in the locker room like Derek Carr and Rodney Hudson for steering this team in the right direction in that department. But we know in the NFL, nothing fosters a confident environment more than winning does. The Raiders have won 4 out of 5, and you mentioned it, MJ. That really got kick-started by this Week 5 win in Kansas City. And I don't know if you've heard, but after the game, the Raiders buses did a victory lap around the stadium. When Andy Reid heard about that, he said, that's not our style, but they earned it. They won the game. John Gruden almost laughed it off. And he said that, hey, look, we had a smart aleck bus driver. We wanted to rub his nose in it a little bit. Didn't really want to talk too much about it, but it got me thinking about the 2014 Raiders. MJD, James Jones, you were a part of that team. You were winless when you were going to face the Kansas City Chiefs in primetime on Thursday Night Football. You guys won the game. And really what a lot of people talk about is that laid the foundation for a confident team that eventually became the 2016 Raiders playoff team. So, James, I'll start with you. Having been a part of this rivalry, you've obviously been a part of the most historic rivalry in the NFL. When an underdog team wins in one of these rivalry games, what does it do for their confidence, setting the tone for the rest of the season?
Well, I mean, you get confidence from watching film. And it doesn't matter. I know a lot of people say underdog and upsets and all that, but when we go back and we watch film and we see what the Kansas City Chiefs are doing on film, no matter what your record is, and you're watching what they're doing on film, you get confidence from that. And the Raiders going into the first game got confidence of what they seen in this Kansas City defense and what they can expose out there. And they did just that. And that's where you get confidence. And then when you go out there and you put it on the football field and you play together and you do what you said you was going to do, that you practiced, that you seen on film, and then you apply it on Sundays, that's where you really get the ultimate confidence from right there. And that's what this Raiders team is doing right now. They are watching film. They're getting confidence from film. They're going out, taking advantage of these teams. They took advantage of the Kansas City Chiefs. And I think it's possibly the same thing could happen this time, Drew. You watch film. You're going to go out there, put in some new plays for this Kansas City defense. And I don't know if this Kansas City defense is going to be able to slow them down. And I think the confidence is going to keep on riding.
Well, I'll tell you this much, Omar. In 2014, we had one person that was very confident all the time. And he's over there. All right. James Jones is what kept us confident that year. I mean, James was whooping everybody. That was kind of the downer in my career. But we practiced hard. And like James said, we knew that we were a good team. We were putting good tape together. And I didn't really understand the rivalry until I got to Oakland, how much it meant to the Raiders to go out there and win. So I'll say this about the game. And please go back to the 3-box so I can my analogy works well. The Chiefs, the Raiders stopped what the Chiefs like to do, which is what my guy over here is doing, Omar Ruiz, that backyard football. You know what I'm saying? You don't want Patrick Mahomes to run around and do all those different things. You don't want him to do those things. They did a great job of keeping him in the pocket and forcing him to throw from the pocket. And so it's crazy to say that, but they did a great job of adding pressure, not allowing him to run all around. And so you just hope that the Las Vegas Raiders can do that again. Now, I'll say this much. You know, I sold all my property and stake and all the teams I played for, that I moved to Kansas City. I just believe in Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, and I believe in Eric Bieniemy.
We talk about John Gruden. Looks like the Raiders are taking on the identity of his offense. He has a quarterback that is playing some of the best ball in his career, and they ran wild against the Denver Broncos, rushing 41 times. Josh Jacobs ran crazy in that game. And John Gruden really said it's old school football. It's a blocking tight end. It's a blocking fullback. It's those two running back sets with obviously Alec Ingold leading the way for Josh Jacobs. What are you seeing from that ground game, MJD?
I think that's what we've always wanted to do. Greg Olson, the offensive coordinator, was there when myself and James was there, and they wanted to be physical. You add Tom Cable, a physical offensive line coach, and you saw the way they drafted. They drafted bigger guys. They've drafted to be that physical team. You find Darren Waller on the practice squad of the Baltimore Ravens. You bring him in, he becomes an immediate weapon. And then you add the speed outside. And the one thing about great teams, in November and December, you can run the football against anyone. And they have one of the top backs in the league. He's not just one of the top young backs. Josh Jacobs has emerged as one of the top backs in the league, and he's running like it right now. And it opens up everything for the passing game, as we heard D'Angelo Hall and Mike Robb talk about earlier.
You know, guys, Tuesday is coming to an end, which means that they're going to ask us to start picking games for Week 11. I cannot pick this one just yet, but I'm still stuck on that victory lap around Arrowhead, almost as hard as a flex as Omar doing live television in front of his neighbors. All right, here's what we have coming up this week on NFL Total Access. Wednesday, Kurt Warner breaks down Kyler Murray versus Russell Wilson. Thursday, Cardinals Seahawks post-game analysis and interviews. And Friday, Travis Kelce joins us, plus game picks, upset alerts, and Cynthia Freeland's game and player projections. You do not want to miss it. That is later in the week. She is after the break. She is fantasy virtuoso Kimmy Checks, who is about to help you and me make the perfect waiver wire claim. Plus, looking for a polite way to throw a little shade? Easy. Start with 2 magic words. No disrespect. That's next.
Ivanovich just threw him out of the club. Goodbye.
Be one heck of a bouncer, wouldn't he?
Brady is taken down. Khalil Mack steps up and gets a sack.
Yeah, against the rookie, Tristan Wirfs, and gets body slammed there.
Oh, that's painful.
Wow.
Oh, yeah. What was he thinking? That's a touchdown off the board.
Hurdle a player in the coach will have none other than Darius Leonard. Just throwing him right back to the turf. And the Maniac says, nuh-uh, what are you thinking?
With a stiff arm, throws a man down. He took him off of his feet. Oh, my goodness.
He just made Josh Norman reconsider whether or not he wanted to play again.
All right, guys, I would like to pay homage to the ancient Greek philosopher Pythagoras. When he was challenged about the world being flat, he said, quite frankly, no disrespect, the world is round. Mike Robb, start us off, please.
You sure the world round? I mean, we're not going to get into that. But, yeah, I'm going to start my first one off with no disrespect. Sorry, Buffalo Bills. But how? Defensive back. First of all, how do you let Kyler Murray get outside? You're wrong right now. But then he actually throws the ball. These are my Buffalo Bills. And then you just let DeAndre Hopkins just – oh, my goodness. I don't even know what else to say to this, guys. D-Hall, you got to take it, man. This is the ultimate disrespect. No disrespect.
Man. Well, no disrespect to the Jaguars, but come on, man. Y'all couldn't cover Marquez Valdez-Scantling if the referee wasn't in your way. But come on, Gerard Wilson. You hit that referee on purpose, man. Don't do that man like that just because you got beat, took the bad angle. No disrespect, but you can't be running up on my ref like that, man. Let that old man live, man.
Hey, no disrespect, man, but listen, Nick Chubb. You just disrespected all your fantasy owners. And my dog Drew is on the fantasy show. You run out of bounds with 56 seconds left. You're about to go up by 10. They can't come back in this game.
Team, bro.
You're not about to go up by 4 points or something they can score. You're about to go up by 10. Run the ball in the end zone. Get your touchdown, man. And don't disrespect all your fantasy owners, man.
All right, look, no disrespect to my dog, Miles Jack. We did go to the great University of UCLA. But, bro, this ain't the program. This ain't the replacements. This ain't Blindside. You're not going to get an award for acting and flopping in football, family. Like, I need more than that. I
heard his wrist from falling on his back.
It happens. It happens. It's all right, bro. I still love you.
Dang.
Hey, back to you, MJ.
Thank you guys for the ab workout. Now it's time for the checks list. Kimmy, let's sprinkle a little black girl magic on here, shall we? Listen, I don't know if you saw my tweet about my toxic relationship with my fantasy team. You were my only saving grace week after week, girl. I don't know what to do anymore.
All right, I know we're getting closer to the fantasy playoff push, so we got to make sure we get you in a winning position. I'm going to give you a running back, a wide receiver, and a tight end who can help push you forward to fantasy greatness. Let's start with Nyheim Hines. He's still available in 65% of NFL.com leagues, which I don't know how because it's a confusing backfield. We thought Jonathan Taylor was the lead back, but no, it is Nyheim Hines. He's playing more snaps than Jonathan Taylor and Jordan Wilkins, plus favorable matchup this week against the Green Bay Packers, who are horrible against running backs. So get him in your starting lineup after you pick him up. Next up, it's MVS. D-Hall was just talking about him on the segment before this. This is a wide receiver that I think you should look to target. I understand that Allen Lazard is coming back from IR and that Devontae Adams is still there. But MVS has had 21-plus fantasy points in back-to-back weeks, and he actually doubled the receiving production of Devontae Adams last week. So he still could be relevant, guys. Last but not least, it's Logan Thomas. It's a thin market for tight ends in fantasy football. I understand that it's rough, but he's coming off a career-high games in targets. With Alex Smith as quarterback, he's in a very good position to succeed. Another real favorable matchup this week. So Logan Thomas, if you're struggling at tight end, go pick him up. And Jay, I really hope those help you because I want to see you bring home a win, even though I got beat by our producer, Leah, which I don't want to talk about. But
listen, I got beat by everybody except 2 people this year. I love how committed you are to my success, but save yourself. Just leave me behind, Kimmy. All right, for all your fantasy football needs, check out Kimmy and the rest of the NFL Fantasy Live gang weekdays at 6 Eastern right here on NFL Network. Okay, here are your nominees for our Pepsi Rookie of the Week. We're going to start off with DeAndre Swift. Oh, yeah, he had a good one this week. Wide receiver T. Higgins, Tua Tagovailoa. Hint, hint, y'all. Jedrick Wills and Justin Jefferson. You can go to NFL.com to vote. The winner will be revealed on Friday right here on NFL Total Access. We've got more for you. 2 recommendations to start. 1, watch Thursday night's Cardinals Seahawks game. It should be epic. 2, listen to Hannah Storm and Andrew Kramer call the game on Amazon Prime. They are awesome. And we've got them next on NFL Total Access.
Hey, you gonna know these too.
Wilson wants it all. Metcalf got it! Touchdown, Seattle!
Cuts back to the left of the 10. Breaks a tackle to the 5. Kyler Murray with a touchdown run. Newton's going to run the ball. Flipped up in the air. It's all zeros. Picked off by Baker. Peterson got that one. He is in. One-handed catch and a touchdown.
Come on, yo, let's go.
You guys are covering DK Metcalf with one man. Forget about it. He beats him for 6.
That's what championship teams are about now.
Kyler Murray to Christian Kirk, an 80-yard strike.
Ah! Let's get it! Let's go!
Miraculous! It's Murray magic!
Get ready for Thursday night. Kyler Murray, Russell Wilson, NFC West up for grabs. Cardinals, Seahawks, Thursday night football, Thursday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern on Fox, NFL Network, and streaming on Prime Video. Not sure if you guys at home know what a fangirl moment is, but that's what's happening right now as I welcome in Hannah Storm and Andrea Kramer, who will be calling the Cardinals Seahawks on Amazon Prime Video Thursday night. They are there every Thursday. Thank you so much for joining us. Actual queens of the game. Now, you provide an option on Amazon Prime that is very different from a traditional broadcast. But for those who just haven't been smart enough to maybe jump on and listen just yet, what are people listening? What really differentiates your broadcast, Andrea?
Well, first of all, hello, Mrs. Ruiz, and a belated congratulations to you. I think that, look, we're an option. And we're not trying to be any of the current people that are out there. We're not trying to be Joe and Troy, who do a terrific job. I think what Hannah and I bring is 30 plus years of covering sports, covering football. We will tell stories. We tell the stories about the players and the coaches who play the game. We inform you. We want to entertain you. And I think that the way that I think people get nervous when they hear storytelling, but we tell the story of the game. We never lose sight of what's going on there. And above all, we have fun. We want the audience to think, hey, I'm hanging out with Hannah and Andrea, and it's pretty great to watch the game with them.
Yeah, I think that's exactly right. It's like if you were sitting on the couch, if you were hanging out with us, MJ, we were having like a nice little cocktail and we were watching the game, you know, you feel like you were hanging out with two of your really knowledgeable friends. Andrea, who just unloads her whole notebook of all her contacts, finds out all the scoop, totally geeks out on the X's and O's of the game. I kind of get us from point A to point B, call the plays, do a lot of big picture stuff as well. So I think we really balance each other out, but we want you to feel like you're just watching it with two friends who actually know a ton about football.
I mean, you had me at story time and cocktails. I'm here for all of that. But the key matchups of this game is something we really get into every single week. Hannah, what matchup are you looking for in this Thursday night game?
Okay, how about DeAndre Hopkins against anybody, right? I mean, so I still can't get over the Hail Murray. I still can't get over the trade. Then I can't get over the Hail Murray. And so I think that, you know, this team is coming in with so much confidence, this young team, not only having beaten Seattle, you know, already, having really defended well. You know, Russell Wilson kind of started on his downturn with his interceptions against this team, throwing 3 picks. I love to call Seattle's secondary, which I feel is socially distanced from the people they're supposed to cover. I have a new name for them. I'm calling them the Legion of Zoom because we're zooming, we're far apart, and that's the way their secondary is playing right now. So I guess I think that secondary is going to have to play a lot better. I mean, you saw Kyler Murray actually like cracking up when he saw Hop in man coverage in their meeting before. He had a big grin on his face, and no wonder. So I think that's the one thing that I'll be looking for.
Well, certainly, look, on the other side, DK Metcalf against Patrick Peterson. Patrick Peterson, who held him to two catches for 23 yards in their overtime matchup that the Cardinals won just a few weeks ago. But I think that Pete Carroll, who has been saying all along, I don't even recognize this team. I think Pete desperately wants to get back to what he views as his winning formula, which is run the ball, try to get explosive plays out of a passing game when we need to, cut down on the turnovers. Now, of course, as we sit here today, we do not know if Carlos Hyde will be back. The feeling is that he will. Chris Carson probably a week away. So to me, I'm also going to be watching the Cardinals defense and how they handle a run game if indeed Pete Carroll chooses to try to get back to that formula, which also could calm down Russell Wilson a little bit. Obviously, we've seen all these turnovers, very uncharacteristic for Russell. And I think that Pete wants to try to get back to running the ball starting Thursday night.
Of course, don't miss Thursday Night Football this week. Cardinals, Seahawks. Of course, you can see it on Fox, NFL Network, and with the two of them streaming on Amazon Prime Video. Thank you both so much for joining us. All right, the Steelers have an opportunity to go 10-0 this week, which would be an incredible achievement. It's only happened 3 times in the last decade, and yet, according to MJD, it wouldn't matter. That requires an explanation, and you'll get it. Now, guys, take it away from me, please.
Yeah, for my Tuesday takeaway, Bill Belichick, man, you ought to go. The way you picked on probably Baltimore's defense's best player and Patrick Queen, oh my goodness. Let me show you these plays, MJD. Check this out, man. Watch out. The whole game plan was to get big people up on Patrick Queen. Look at that big person in his face, opens up a lane for the running back. The running back's through the hole. Again, Patrick Queen, an animal on the football field, but he's a runner. He's a running type of linebacker. He gets you from sideline to sideline. And right here, he figured something was going on. Something didn't feel right, but yet he got lost in coverage. And again, they picked on this young rookie. Honestly, guys, I didn't think the New England Patriots stood a chance against the Baltimore Ravens, but that's what good coaches do, MJD. They pick one thing out, they pick one aspect of your game, and they try to go at it, and they exploit it. And that's exactly what Bill Belichick, and that's what Josh McDaniels did. Here's again another just straight lead play. Outright 24 lead right there. Patrick Queen gets out of the hole again, right at this young kid, and right down the middle of the football field, the running back goes. That's how you win in this league, and you limited Lamar Jackson's ability to affect the game. That's my Tuesday takeaway.
Yeah, and Rob, for me, it's going to be this. The Pittsburgh Steelers probably are going to go 16-0. They have a great chance of doing it and still won't be the best team in the NFL. Again, I know Kansas City Chiefs, that's our game of the week against the Raiders. They just are too good right now.
Oof, I hear you. All right, listen, to quote our voice of reason here on the show, Puma, who you don't see, the days are long, but the